alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Barkanmu da sake haɗuwa a bidiyo na uku a sati na biyar a CSS. Okay. Today we are going to discuss some very important thing again, which is called a pseudo element. Pseudo element. Last week previous video we talked about pseudo classes. But what I didn't forget to mention is that we have other pseudo classes like check, when maybe you want to give a style for maybe an input, and let me say checkbox file, when maybe you give it the check, maybe by default it's maybe blue, you want to make it red or something like that. You can do that pseudo class to make it check. When the is enable, you can also have a different one. First type of, when it's focused, we also have it. Then when it's invalid, we have lang. We have a lot. Maybe you need to go and check for the availability of maybe interactive class. I will give you all the list of the available class element pseudo classes we have. So proceeding from where we stopped, then we have a pseudo element. Pseudo element is used to style specified part of an element. So let's say in my text I want to style the first line of it, and it's very cool to do, right? So that's why we need the pseudo element. Let's say I have a paragraph. Let me just get some of the just read some code here and let me try them and see what happens. Okay, let me see. I don't have this one here. Oh, let me comment them. I think that is the right option I can do. Right option I can do. I can do this and do this. Comment them for other references. Let me just comment this one again. Or comment everything. Okay. So let me just this, comment this, and then end my comment. I have my div here that maybe have the longest text here, like that. Okay, let me just copy it and twice, like that. Okay, now copy it here. Let's say I have this kind of text in my browser here, then refresh this page here, we'll be able to see. Okay, what happened? This is my text inside my paragraphs, and then let's assume I want to change only the first line of it into a red or any other color, or give it a different style like that. Give it a different style like that. Okay, so that is how we come up with a pseudo element like that. Okay, let me just send this one to pseudo element week 5 pseudo element like that. Okay, so that is how it works. Pseudo element is very simple to use. Let's see the syntax. So we used double colon to represent it inside our something like that. Okay, so now let me give it a try and see how it works in our CSS. Okay, let's see. I have this one. I can see. Okay, I can see you can calm down and do it like that. Okay, let me just see. Okay, somebody is distracting me. It's phone call. That's why I see. Okay, sorry. Okay. If it is like this, then there's no problem. Like, okay, let's say I only want to style this first line here, and this is why we come in. But in normal way, you're not supposed to do it the way you're supposed to do, and you're supposed to be like give it a tag here, maybe use the tag and give it a style and whatever. It requires you a lot, but with the help of CSS, it's just straightforward. With one pseudo element, you can get in hand using with that. Okay, so what we need to do, we can do div first line, and then we give it a style like that. So in our CSS here, what we need to do, we can say div and div like this. Okay, if I do div like this, I can say okay like this. I can say first line. If I say first line, it be background color red, or maybe I can give it a little style to the first line there. Maybe let me just save it like this. I can come here for this page. You see only the first line is having a style. What about if we have a screen like this? It's dynamically styling only the first line, irrespective of the numbers of characters that are there. So if you use the other method, you will definitely break if you have a small screen like that. So that is the use of the first line. In the first line, you can be able to change the font property, you can change the color property, you can change the background, word spacing of that first line, later spacing, text decoration, vertical alignment, text transformation. You can even try to transform the first line to uppercase and the remaining line to the lowercase if you want to do so. Okay, so you can do everything you want to do, text transformation and other things like that. Okay, we also have another pseudo element, we call it first letter. First letter is used to give a style to the first letter. Let's see. Okay, let's see how we can do with the first letter. In the first letter, we can be able to change the font property, color property, then background property, margin, and other. Let's say I want to change this one, text decoration, text transformation. Let's say I want to change this one to capitalized. Okay, now what will I do? I will just come here inside my text here, inside my code here. I can use the same thing here. I can say div. Okay, I can say, let me just copy this. I'm tired of typing again. Paste it here. I can do first letter here instead of first letter. In the first letter, I want to change maybe the color of that first letter to white, for example. We can change the color property of it in. Then we can do text transform, text dash transform maybe to capitalized like that. Okay, now if you save this here, you see here the first letter of the text here is now become white and it is being capitalized. So that is one of the important of this pseudo element. It will allow you to select the part of the text and give it the kind of style you want to have it like that. Okay, and if you have different classes, you can use a pseudo class, which is a normal class of the, maybe I have different div. I want to have apply style to a particular div that have a particular class. So in that aspect, you can do it with a class. You will do maybe the div, the name of the class, then you give it a kind of div like that. Okay, now if you come here and see div that has maybe a text class, then you apply it like that. If you save this one, you won't be able to see the changes because we don't have a class that has div doesn't have that class. Okay, if you now come down here, save this page here, you don't be able to see any changes unless that second one is not appear because of that class doesn't have this text class. For what we do to make it working is we come to that div element here, then we give it a class of a text like that. See a text like that. This shows that if we have a different class that have, then only the one that have this class will be affected with this style and the pseudo element there. Okay, so that is why you see that it now have it, because it has the class. So we can tag the class from the one that doesn't have the class. Okay, or even what we need to do, let me just copy it from here and then copy it from here and then paste it here, or maybe paste it twice and only give class to one. You see that we have 3 div there and only one that have that class. That's why maybe probably you see it's only one that have that class is the one that have the style. So apart from that, we also have a pseudo element called before element. You maybe it's very useful to do something to maybe put something before the text, the content of the element. It is very easy to do that. Cool. So, and also we have before and we have after. We can put the content. Maybe let's say I want to display my image here before the content of before this T here, or after the element here, like that. So it's very useful to do that. You can use before elements. You can do like this. Okay, you can see okay, now CSS here we can use before. We can say div before. Okay, div before is very useful. Let's say I want to put a content image, you just use the keyword content here, content. Div before, what do you need to put as a content? You need to say content, let me say image. We know we have image. I think we are working folder here. I can use URL for the image, then I use this thing here. Inside of it I can specify my image name. I think my image name is image, the one we are working in this project, image.png, like that. Okay, at the end of it then you put semicolon. This one will add the image to every div at the beginning of every div. Refresh it here, you won't be able to see that. I think that image is not actually the image name image. Okay, you see that it's JPG, it's not PNG, I mean. Okay, and that is why we will not be able to see JPG. You know, be able to see the image at the beginning of that, like that. Okay, if you now refresh it here, you see that image has been added at the beginning of the something here, and all of them are there with the help of CSS image element and what have you here before the element ending. Then we need to put something like that. Okay, if you want to do it to the entire element here instead of the first one, you can also do it before the div and what have you, like that. So if you want to do it after the text, then you can also use after element there, and then it will work for you perfectly, probably, inshallah. Okay, you have seen that after the text, this is the text where it started, this is when it ends, then after it then we append the image there you want to append. You also have the selection as a pseudo class. We have the selection. Maybe when you're texting, look at it, when I highlighted this one, it highlighted blue. Let's see, I don't want to this blue highlighting background. I want to, maybe when I highlight, it should be background should be like red, green, ash, or any other color. With the help of pseudo element, you can also be able to give it a different style. You use a pseudo element called selection. So in this aspect, selection, you don't need to tag anything, you just need to say selection anywhere in your page is a selection, so like that. Okay, so now what we need to do here for the selection, you do double colon here as a selection, Okay, in this selection here, I'll pass my, I can change anything. I can change background color of the selection. Let's say if I do the selection, I want to change the background color to be red, like that. Okay, now if I change it like that, it's okay. And refresh it here. If I do the selection now, you see red and blue like that. So that is why you can change anything here. You can change the color. If you select this, change the text color to be maybe white. If you want to do that, you can also do that. There is no problem. You can say color is white of the text here. So apart from that, you can even add a cursor outline and everything you want to add like that. Okay, now if you refresh here, then you refresh this page here, you see that the selection text is now white and instead of actual things just like, okay. So that's all we need to have. We have about pseudo element after, before, first, later, first line selections, and that is all we have for the element, and that is good for it. And this is week 5, remember, and this is the last video for the week. And in the next week we'll be having a mid break, and within this break we are going to gather all our knowledge so that we see that we can put them together in order to create one application. So the videos of the next week should not, another topic we talk about is from the previous topic we're talking about. Since from the first week to this week 5, we are going to gather all of them in order to create a single applications. So in the interactive class we determine which application do we after do you want us to build with all the knowledge we have gathered. Okay, thank you for watching. See you in the next week or in the upper week. Thank you.